So why don't you start off by telling me a bit about your background and how you ended up getting involved in the avocado trade industry in Kenya?
Okay, my name is Phillip Mutooni, the CEO for Avocado Exporters Association of Kenya. Honestly, my background, I'll give maybe I did IT in my university. I'm an IT professionalist. Then after that, I got into business. Then from business, I managed to work with some of my guys in different sectors. I worked with the airlines. I worked with the different corporates from different regions. Then from there, I got an opportunity to work with the Avocado Society of Kenya. While working at Avocado Society of Kenya, I got an opportunity to basically Avocado Society of Kenya, I was second in command. Then luckily enough, exporters decided to have their own association. Within the association, they didn't have a management team. So I got the opportunity, I did my interview as usual, then I passed. That's the short information I can give you.
Perfect. No, thanks for that. And I guess for those that are not familiar with the Avocado Exporters Association of Kenya, can you talk a little bit about what are your key priorities? How do you support your members?
Okay, Avocado Exporters Association of Kenya was formed the year 2019. It's the premier entity that supports us exporters in the country, mostly avocado exporters, mangoes and pineapples. But mostly we focus on avocado currently too much. Our job is we do advocacy and lobbying in the industry. Then also at the same time we do marketing for our members internationally. We do capacity building for different members, basically all the members, depending with their challenges that they have in the industry. We do compliance and standards. The other thing we do is trainings and e-learning resources. Thank you.
Perfect. And then what type of profile of an exporter usually is a member of your association? Or is there a lot of variability? What's the average member in your association? How big are they? Are they recently incorporated?
The number of members that we have in the association?
Yes.
Or the size of the...
Yeah.
Okay, the association currently we have 180 registered and active members who are exporters in the country for avocado. And we have all the general sizes of the companies. Currently we have the biggest company in the country. The biggest exporter in the country is our member and also our board member. Then we even have new exporters. Some have not even exported even a piece, but they are just in the process of creating their own farm. Yeah.
Okay. And I always like to say that, at least personally, the deeper we've gotten into this export space, I guess the greater appreciation and respect I have for exporters, because it's not the easiest of jobs. It's not the easiest of businesses to build. And so I'm definitely curious to hear from you. Between recently there was the droughts in Kenya, the Ukraine Russia crisis, rising inflation, cost of freights keeps going up.
Yes.
There are just so many challenges left and right. And I think I'd be curious to hear from you. What do you think are the current challenges that Kenyan exporters face that has been really, really challenging for them as they grow their business?
Okay, we have different challenges. We have different challenges in the industry. For example, we can talk about there's a challenge of not having enough capacity maybe to supply your orders, because not all orders that are paid cash. Some of our orders, they are paid in bits, and don't forget that it's a big investment to just fill one container. It's a lot of money. So at the end of the day, we have challenges with the finances, and sometimes we have banks that come in. We have other guys. They combine their own efforts. Then they do their supplies. Then we have another challenge I can talk about. As we speak, in the country, we really had a big challenge when it came to drought, because our fruits were to be. We expect to have bigger fruits, but currently we cannot tell you we have very big fruits in the industry, in the market currently. But we have good number, but we can, they are all mature. The challenge is that some are small in size simply because we had a long drought in the country, and it affected everyone, I believe. Then the other challenge you can talk about payments. Sometimes payments can be delayed even from the customer side. Other challenges is we have the shipping lines. We also have a challenge with shipping lines. Sometimes, like now as you speak, I have some containers which were left by the last week's vessel. I have to follow up and make sure that they are delivered within time, because our products are perishable, so they have to be done within time limit. And don't forget, we have a market to compete with. We have competition from different countries. There is Colombia, there is Peru. So at the end of the day, we have to supply our fruits within time, so that our customers don't complain in terms of price. Thank you.
No, and you actually preempted some of the questions I wanted to ask you, which was around Latin America, right? So, many of these trade fairs that we attend, and many of the experts we talk to, we hear about how there's a lot of movement in kind of the fresh fruit space in Latin America. How does Kenya remain competitive in that market, right? Since there is more external pressures around buyers going to Latin America and wanting to source from there.
Currently, luckily enough, our competition is a bit different, because Kenya, we don't supply to America. Our market is basically Europe, Middle East, and some African countries. Currently, we can talk about also China. We are supplying to China. So usually the challenge is always when we have oversupply of fruits. When the supply of fruits is flooded in the market, usually it brings the prices down. It's a big challenge there.
Gotcha. And then you also touched on, I guess, the lack of financing, right? And you talked about how some banks do step in. I'm curious what are the constraints on the banking sector, and why is there still a credit gap or still a credit need, right, within your members of your association? How are banks able to support?
Okay, when it comes to big company, it's easy, because at the end of the day, they can see the history and the bank statements of the company and what they have been doing. So it's easy for someone to be a big company to be there, which is, I think, it's a challenge everywhere. In every country, you usually have these requirements, which a new exporter will not have them. Just like the way you see a company hiring someone, they are looking for experience, and you are new from the college, you don't have the experience. So it's always a challenge for you to get the work or the job. Someone with experience will always get the job. So that's a challenge when it comes to us, when you have a new or a young exporter in the industry. When they are trying to get some funding, it becomes a challenge because they don't have a good history of what they have been doing in terms of the industry. So it's a challenge that everybody faces here.
Gotcha. And what percent of your association members do you think qualify for bank funding?
More than 80%.
Okay, that's good. Great. And then yes, you kind of touched on this too, which was this. I think just a few days ago, or this week actually, I read this article around how there were containers stuck in Mombasa because they didn't get clearance to get put on a ship. How do exporters handle situations like that, right? Is government proactive around helping? Who do you have at your disposal to help navigate situations like that?
Okay, it's hard for us to pinpoint exactly where the challenge is when it comes to some vessels leaving our containers in the dock. It's a challenge because you'll follow up with the Kenya Ports Authority, then they'll go and tell you it's not their challenge. Then you go to the shipping line. The shipping line now they'll also throw you back and forth. At the end of the day, it's a matter of what we are doing. We have already started the negotiations and the talks. We're expecting some involvement from the government and also the shipping lines. We're expecting to get some solutions. It's a matter of making calls, writing emails, letters to the people that are really relevant to the dock.
Understood. And then, the macro context of Kenya, we're seeing what is called we're seeing the initial stages of currency devaluation, right? Which it only further enhances, I guess, the government's desire to have more exports and to generate more forex. Are you seeing a lot of new government initiatives around supporting exporters, and how has that translated into impacts?
Luckily enough, we have a new government. The new government that we have has been supporting export business. And, for a developing country like Kenya, you expect things to go as slow as you can imagine. But the good thing, we have people in the offices who are really willing to have the talks, who really give us the ear that we expect. And we are really doing well. We are expecting to get better progress in terms of the industry and the market, because we also have macadamia in the country, which has been opened currently. It has been opened by the ministry. Now people will be exporting, and also we are looking for ways to get better markets in terms of the bilateral agreements within government and other international bodies.
Great. And I guess tied to that, we always, from our conversations with global buyers, the two things they care about usually, it's quality and then reliability, right? And I'm curious, from your perspective, how does your association kind of help exporters kind of achieve those two things, and kind of where are there still opportunities for Kenyan exporters to improve?
Thank you for that. That's luckily enough, this country, we really don't have that big challenge when it comes to our quality of fruits. We have one of the best fruits in the world. When it comes to avocado, we do trainings, we do marketing for our members. Luckily enough, with the Avocado Exporters Association, we are committed, so much committed. We even have standards. We approach customers to maintain the quality and the class of the international market, so that we can remain competitive to the other global markets.
Great, because that's by far the biggest thing we hear from the global buyers, right? If you're able to maintain that quality and that reliability, those are the buyers will come to you, basically, because that is what they seek. And I think Kenya has had a very good track record in delivering that. So it's awesome to hear that you guys are extremely supportive. And I guess thinking about it more in the future, right? I guess in 3 years' time, how do you think the Kenyan avocado industry will have changed? Where do you ambition, or where do you see it go?
From the perspective of the growth of this country, first of all, I'll inform you that initially only few counties in our country who are doing avocado farming. As we speak, we have farms with thousands and thousands of acres of people who have already started avocado farming. Trust you me, in the next 3 years, we'll be one of the biggest exporters from international markets, because the current supply that we have, we are talking of is it 50,000 tons? We are doing well in terms of numbers, and also farmers are really much committed to having knowledge with avocado farming. They are changing from other domestic farms to farming to avocado farming, since we have been sensitizing everybody wherever we go to make sure that they understand this business. They understand that it's a business that it's a long-lasting investment, not just like planting your trees today and harvesting the following week. It's a long-term investment that you can imagine. If you are going to have your trees, then you can harvest after 3 years. That's when you're going to harvest. So imagine the trees that have been planted this week. In 3 years' time, they'll be harvested. So you're expecting a good number. You could be expecting a good growth in terms of volumes in this country.
That's fantastic. And lastly, the last question is really around first-time exporters. So, there are many aspiring avocado farmers and individuals excited to start exporting. What are some of the advice that you would give them on the best way to get started?
Most of the time, every exporter in this country, they have to go through the association. The association does these requirements for you to be a member. So we look at your commitment to the industry. Then you register, you become a member. You fill a form, then you become a member. After you become a member is when you can get an export license from the government body. After that, the Avocado Exporters Association makes sure we do trainings. As I can insist again, we do trainings for the new exporters. We do B2B networks for the industry. We even enlighten them, take them through the process to make sure that everybody who comes into the industry understands how it is being run. At the end of the day, if you let them work without knowledge, you have challenge.
No, very helpful. So, well, that was actually the end of the questions I had for you. So first of all, thank